Welcome to Get Shirty, the podcast where we ask our guests about the things in life that just never fail to irritate and get them all shirty. The chat focuses on home, work and going out, but could go anywhere. And it's not all doom and gloom, as each guest gets a made-to-measure shirt which they design, so we talk about that too. Funny that, us being tailors. Episode 12 and the last of the season. Well, except maybe a cheeky release of the pilot before season 2 starts, so watch out for that. Today is going to be a little different, as my guest is our very own Stuart Wilson, who's the editor and producer of the podcast, and he also works at the shop. And we thought it would be a great idea to have a chat about how it's been doing the podcast, and maybe get a few Get Shirties in there too. Joining us in the background, as usual, is Sam, who will be chipping in as we go along, of course. Here we go then. 1 guest, 2 mics, 3 tailors, one of which is the guest, and a host of irritations, and maybe some insights too. So, let's get shirty. You're not doing your clap?
Oh yeah, forgot. Yeah, done it.
Done it now.
I forgot.
Stu's had his clap.
Because I'm in it.
It's because you're in it. It's because you're in it. As we draw to the end of season 1 of the Get Shirty podcast, we thought it would be a really good idea to have a chat about how it's been for us, what we thought of the experience, being new to podcasts, and perhaps have a look back at some of our favourite bits too. We might throw in the odd Get Shirty of our own. With that in mind, my guest today is Stuart Wilson.
Hello.
Hello, Stuart Wilson.
Hello.
So, Stuart,
Hello.
For those of you who don't know, for those of you who don't know, my usual guests are a lot less unruly. But for those of you who don't know, Stuart is operations man extraordinaire at Hardman and Hemming. He is also the editor and the producer of the podcast, I would say, to give you your full title.
Hello.
And he likes the word
Hello.
hello. And also, sort of more recently, sort of bit of a co-host too, actually, in a little bit more of the episodes. And in the background,
What would you call somebody who's not quite a co-host? A demi co-host?
I don't know, it's probably somebody who keeps interrupting the introduction.
That's right. Sorry. Carry on.
Hello. After doing it again to get it so it sounded like something professional. Now I don't know whether to do it a third time.
Carry on.
Also, in the background, we have, as per usual, Sam, who takes up her usual spot of sort of keeping us all in line and chipping in from time to time. So you might well hear Sam in the background too.
Hello.
Excellent. Although we may not be able to tell who is. That's quite similar hellos from the back.
Hello.
That was Sam, and that was Stuart. So now you'll know. Welcome, Stu.
Thank you.
That was quite a long intro, that. I was expecting it to be quite nice and short and concise, but it turned into a rambly one. I won't take the blame for that this time. Episode 12 this is.
Episode 12, yeah.
We've done 11 episodes.
End of season.
End of season, this one. How's it feel to be the guest rather than the tech guy on the side?
Oh, well, it feels a bit strange because, of course, I did it for the pilot
Yeah.
episode, which was
Was
a
that
bit of
about
fun.
this time last year? Because we did that quite a long time ago, wasn't it?
I'm not quite sure when it was. I need to look it up.
Yeah.
It was quite a long time ago.
Because we started recording in September,
Might have been, yeah.
something like
Might have
that.
bit late August, early September.
Yeah,
So we probably did the pilot, probably June, maybe. Yeah,
Yeah.
so June.
Might
July.
be a year ago.
Yeah, could be.
so it's a bit strange having done it once because that was a proper
As a pilot.
Yeah, as a pilot. Yeah.
So yes, it feels. I feel on the spot.
Yeah.
And I've got some friends who keep saying, "Are you going to appear more in this time?" And all that sort of stuff. You're going to say more.
And now you're a guest.
And now I'm a guest.
A bona fide Get Shirty guest.
Bona fide Get Shirty.
Yeah, which is good. Yeah, it's funny actually. I do think it will sort of give you an insight into how it is for the guest.
I'm already feeling the pressure to either be interesting, funny, or none of those.
Or none of the above. Yeah. So, and do you think, so they're performers in, well, mind you, you're a performer too with your singing career now.
Yeah, we don't talk about the OnlyFans, though.
Yeah, oh, well, why not? Why not? I think it could get us a lot more listeners. If anybody's interested,
make more money, that's for sure.
We'll give out the OnlyFans. We can put that a link in the description, couldn't we?
Yeah.
Stu's OnlyFans. Suppose they're like used to being interviewed a little bit more. Do you think they feel the same pressure that you are? You know, like, oh, I better say something interesting.
Probably not, because at least it's in their wheelhouse, isn't it?
Yeah.
As you say, they are at least performers of some sort.
Yeah,
So they probably have stock stories or stock things to talk about,
anecdotes.
holding their mind ready.
Although Alex was quite off at the end of his, he said something to you, didn't he? Which, you know, it's a little behind the scenes thing.
He said, you know, should I have been a bit more show busy?
Yeah, which quite surprised me. I mean, so I suppose it doesn't really matter how long you've been doing it. There must always be that point of view where you think, oh, is that what they wanted?
How should I be? Yeah. And it was, I mean, they're all good, but, you know, in particular, I think with Alex and Adam Buxton, it was nice to meet people that I've sort of listened to and known about. And it was just nice meeting them, and they were both super nice. So that was nice.
Yeah, they were both super nice. In fact, we've been really lucky with all of our guests.
They're brilliant. Yeah.
There hasn't anybody who I thought, oh God, you know, this is going to be like pulling teeth. You know, it's just always been a nice atmosphere to do.
Yeah, and it's always been a surprise.
Yeah, that's
for them,
true.
Particularly, I think we spoke about this before, and you know, I knew of Adam Buxton, Alex Horn, and a few of them. Some of them I didn't know really much about, and it was really interesting getting to know them on the podcast and find out, in fact, they've got such interesting lives, really.
Yeah, like with Jeff Wilkinson, which was episode, let's see if I can get this, episode.
Didn't you number them?
No, I didn't number them, stupidly. 8, that was episode 8. And what was stupid there is I counted from 1 down rather than from 11 back.
Yeah.
That would have been quicker, but anyway. But with Jeff, because we had to record twice.
Yes, he was originally around number 3 or 4,
3,
I think.
yeah. But because we had to record it again, we heard different things in the second time that we didn't get out of the first one, like all of his stuff about the gigs that he'd helped do.
I know, the records that he picked up.
Yeah.
Got him
and
into
you just
music.
think, well, we didn't get any of that the first time.
No.
So I think it would probably be good to
And finding out today that Gary James worked on the trains.
Yeah.
He didn't mention that for like 40 years.
Yeah. It is bizarre, but I suppose that I wonder if some of that's me and what questions I'm asking and where I'm sort of.
Yeah, maybe they don't want to ramble too far away.
Maybe. And you preempted one of my questions there.
Oh,
but that's all right, because I've written on here, what surprised you?
Oh, there's been loads of surprises. Yeah. Loads. And I was talking at home about this the other day, actually, because we're preempting this, what we're doing now. And one of the things I sort of came up with was, you imagine, you picture big stars in acting and music, you know, the people that sort of lots of people know about, all the big stars. You think, I bet they've got loads of storage, and I bet they've got, you know, this, that and the other. But what I found out talking to the people we've had on our podcast is they occupy a space where, in fact, they've got the stories because they meet those people and work with those people, as well as other people around them. So they end up with possibly having more stories to tell, more experiences, because of the space they occupy, that sort of working space. Does that make sense? So they make a good living out of what they do, but they occupy a space which almost goes into both worlds. It tips into that stardom world, and then it comes into a job world as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they seem to have all the quite interesting stories.
Yeah, it is interesting actually, isn't it? Because I suppose like most things in life, you realise there's levels.
Yeah.
And you just think there's muggles like us, you know, who have got no sort of profile or fame at all, and then famous people. And that's your two definitions. Of course it's not, and like you say, like going back to Jeff as well, like Jeff is a platinum selling artist, songs on soundtracks, and at a level which most of us can't really comprehend in terms of what he does with his life. And then he's got a story about Quincy Jones, who's like that next level up above him, and I can't believe I met him, and I can't believe this happened.
And the Elvis Costello, where he had to go and tell Elvis Costello they had to cut his set short.
Yeah.
And stories like that. Well,
yeah, it's incredible.
Whereas, conversely, Elvis Costello won't have that story about being told to have
that's
his
true.
set cut short, would he?
Yeah.
And well, Jeff is a good example because he worked in the music industry, and he's not a massive star, as in people know who he is, but he's had a good living in music, and he's had over 1,000 tracks published.
Yeah.
That's no mean feat.
Oh, that's incredible.
Made a good living out of it, and he's as a professional musician. So we know about levels in everyday jobs. We know about you work here, then you get this promotion, and you're that manager, and you're that manager. We understand those, but I struggle to understand the music and the showbiz levels world. But every so often I get reminded, in fact, there are. Just because you're an actor or just because you're a musician doesn't mean you necessarily hobnob with the same people that you think you're going to.
Yeah, and I can't remember if it was on the podcast we were talking to somebody about people just naturally assume you're made of money because you've been on the telly.
Or because you're an actor.
Yeah, or you're an actor.
I think that might have been James. Yeah. One of them did say that, there's that assumption, isn't there? That,
I do this job where lots of people see me there, so that must follow that I'm rich and famous and on the telly.
A bit like having your own business, as well as that assumption.
Yeah.
You've got a money tree out the back.
Yeah, well, we have. It's quite a nice one. I just think I must just keep forgetting to water it properly.
It looks pretty withered at the moment.
I've got a withered money tree.
Now we're into euphemisms, aren't
Yeah,
we?
we really are. And I'll tell you what, actually, we've done quite well, considering how
Euphemistic,
euphemism heavy we tend to be. I've actually managed to keep it under control for the most part. There hasn't been, I think there's only, I don't ever remember saying to you, oh, you've got to cut that.
No, but
it's only names, actually.
That's going to be because of the people you've got on, because you're automatically going to think, not I want to be better. That's weird because that's implying that there's something wrong with it. But there's that. It's like meeting the Queen, isn't it? We all try to put on airs and graces that we think we should put on.
Yeah.
So I suppose when we have a guest, we think, oh, I don't want to seem that silly person making
yeah, that's true. That's true. So, which has been the time when you were most nervous? I'll ask you this as well, Sam, in a minute. No, Sam's not been nervous at all. You don't care, do you? For the benefit of people listening, Sam was making
shaking her
faces.
head.
Just people.
They are just people. That's true.
That's true.
Well done, you.
Thanks.
Well,
You've transcended.
I think visiting Alex Holmes' house was probably the most nervous I've been, because we're out of our area, out of our comfort zone, meeting somebody that I've seen on television a lot and admire what he does, and so that was probably the most nervous, and having to do the technical stuff at his house.
Yeah. See, I'm lucky in that I don't have to worry about the technical side of things. By being an idiot, it's allowed me to just wash my hands of that.
Because if it goes wrong, when we've left, and well, like we did with Jeff and Barry, it wasn't until later when we found out they didn't work. We had to phone up and go, sorry, there's been a technical.
We've made a horrible mistake.
So it's that sort of feeling of having to get it right, and sitting in his throne, and I didn't even ask.
Just sat down in the throne. It was quite funny actually, because he was like, "Oh no, that's absolutely fine," but nobody does. No, just Stu. Yeah, I'll sit here. But it's a spare chair.
there.
Yeah, I think you were 100% right to sit in it, and I don't think he minded at all. But he did do a
You're in the throne.
You're in the throne.
I'm not supposed to be.
Yeah, no, it was good. For me, it was probably Adam Buxton, I think,
It was up until we went to Alexander.
Yeah. I think it remained, because...
And it was early on as well.
It was early on. So at that point, because I was quite nervous about Mike as well, because of course Mike's got his own podcast. I was nervous about Nigel because he was the first person, and I wasn't really sure how I was going to sort of get on with it, I suppose. And then Mike has done 350 episodes of his own podcast, as well as being an actor, as well as being on TV. And then Adam Buxton having his own podcast, being on TV and all the rest of it. But that's somebody who I followed closely when the Adam and Joe show came out. So, yeah. So, yeah, that's sort of the early stalking years, camping outside of his house, following him around London. The going back to when I was, I don't know when that was, early 90s, that sort of buying the books and, recording them off the telly and rewatching them and all of that really sort of played into that, and having listened to every episode made me quite nervous. I found it hard to get beyond the first few bits of the conversation. Always hard. I found it hard to get past that.
That was nervy because it's trying not to be a fanboy. I mean, I felt like that with him and Alex. You don't want to be a fanboy, but at the same time, you want to show them that you appreciate what they've done. What they've meant.
You don't want to be a fanboy, but you want to let them know you're a fanboy.
Fan.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? So I think from a nerves point of view, that's probably where I felt most nervous. I mean, I'm always a bit nervous, mainly because I think now that I'm going to say something stupid and embarrass myself, which I know can be edited out, but then...
Yeah. Hence the reason you probably don't hit the euphemistic side of things, just probably, in case.
Probably.
Just in case you take that stream of consciousness...
too far.
Go the Phil K route.
Yeah.
And just not
stop. That's as close as I've come to sort of really let in the weirder side.
Because he was allowing you to, I suppose.
He was allowing me to,
He was guiding you down that route.
Yeah. Just about held it in check.
He was definitely the most abstract of Get Shirties.
Yeah, and I think I try and stick relatively, there's always something to hit, like we're going to talk about work now, and then we'll talk about going out, the Mars bar side of things, work, rest and play. But with Phil, I just went, look, we'll see if we can get close to any of them, but there was no point trying to wrangle it onto a track that it was never going to sit on.
No.
That's how I sort of viewed it. With that nice little segue there, why don't we use that point to do a work, rest and play? Let's do a Get Shirty, a Stuart Wilson Get Shirty, different to the pilot. Because we're gonna put the pilot out.
Yes, it's all ready to go.
All ready to go.
Have a listen and check it over. So what do you want first? The work?
Yeah, work. Yeah, always work, rest and play. Work.
So I'm going to try and do current work then, because in the pilot I spoke about my old work, so I'm trying to be a bit more up to date. What's my work? Get Shirty. It's not a lot actually. Gets me. I mean, I do enjoy my work.
Yeah, that's
not a lot that gets me shirty.
Now here.
Not a lot that gets me super shirty about it. Well, actually, I can come up with one because I'm dealing with it at the moment.
All right.
And my current super Get Shirty is PCI DSS compliance.
Oh, well, do you know, it's taken till episode 12 and I thought...
it was going to be a lot earlier than that.
I thought it was going to be a lot earlier,
Yeah.
PCID.
Compliance. So not mansplaining, but for listeners who don't necessarily know what that's about.
Me.
It is any company that takes card payments over the website for e-commerce need to be PCI DSS compliant.
Yeah.
And it involves a lot of checks and scans on your website. You end up with a report telling you what's wrong with it, and you've got to fix it, essentially. And that in itself isn't the problem. It's the hoops and the phone calls back and forth and the unhelpfulness of the banks who are involved in it to help you.
Yeah. You're going to name names?
Lloyd's.
Hey! We love them, don't we? So if you work for Lloyd's and you're hearing this and you're thinking, oh, God, you know, how unfair. We're not being unfair.
No.
It's really...
Well, so far it's taken... Last year, it took me a day, a few hours to sort it out. The rules have changed. That's not down to Lloyd's, obviously. The rules have changed, and it's now taken me 3 months so far.
Wow.
We've had to change our website setup, various bits and pieces, and they're just unhelpful. And I think if I was to be truthful about it, I think it's because they don't actually know what's going on.
Yeah, that does seem to... Yeah. I mean, I'm lucky that my involvement in this goes much the same way as the technical side of recording the podcast. I go, I've got another one of them emails, Stu, I'll forward it over. But yeah, when we talk about it, it does seem to be that...
I think it's trying to make it interesting is quite difficult. But I think this is just a small thing that a lot of people suffer with when dealing with these sort of companies. It's the unhelpfulness.
Yeah.
You just end up going round in circles, a bit like the NHS. You know, you go back and forth. They don't solve the initial problem, and then you phone up and say, I mean, one particular issue I've got is I can't scan from the computer. So I keep phoning them up and saying, I can do that for you here. Yeah, but that's not going to solve my problem. So, So at the moment, that's getting me quite shirty. But I think it's the overall dealing with corporate systems who don't really understand what you're doing and are not very helpful.
Well, it's a bit like they set up the hoops for you to jump through, and then before they let you jump through them, they tie your shoelaces together.
Yeah.
And then off you go.
And then fine you for not jumping through the hoop.
Exactly that. Yeah, no, that's a good one, Stu, and I'm with you on that. I was, just before you said that, I was about to jump in. I was about to tee you off with one. But,
oh, were you?
Yeah, I was. But and that's about, if I had a work, Get Shirty.
Shirty.
Yeah.
That's
Do you know
film.
how many times I do that? Yeah, we can edit that out if you like, Stu.
No, because it's referral
but my thing is, sometimes from a work point of view, is less about work and more about trade and the trade of tailoring. And it can be a really weird trade to work in, I think. It can be like quite a frustrating trade to work in at times.
Yeah, we've spoken about it many times.
Yeah, and I think sometimes it's because it can't make up its mind whether it's old school and traditional or all singing, all dancing, new. And you get the old fighting the new, and new techniques come in, and there's a bit of a clash within the trade itself, and it doesn't always run as smoothly as I think it could, you know. Yeah. But that's the trade as a whole, and I'm sure that's the same in any trade, actually. But
well, I can see similarities between what we do here and what I used to do with optics. And in optics, retail was always fighting the medical.
Yeah.
So the rules changed. You were allowed to dispense glasses without having an on-site optometrist and stuff. But you were fighting the medical side, and I feel that's what we do here as a retail outlet. We fight the manufacturers of suits and the tailors within the trade. It seems like the tailors don't really want to do stuff for customers.
Yeah.
So we end up, our choices get limited what we can do to customers because of the problems we have with certain parts of the trade.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? It is funny. It's one of those ones where, because we are as well with us, where we offer 3 levels of service, and we don't work, or we can't work the same way across those 3 levels. So there's a lot of juggling to do. So that's I think tailoring can be a sort of interesting, frustrating trade to work in sometimes. Yeah, work Get Shirties. Second time. Do you know, it's because I watched the film the other day.
Get Shirty, yeah. And that's where it all came from.
That is where it all came from.
Ish.
Well, yeah, sort
the
of
music
ish,
and all that.
Yeah, the music came from there, yeah. It's interesting from a host's point of view to, like we just have, to sort of, you interject, you sort of have to keep breaking up the conversation to get shirties in there. And I find that quite interesting sometimes. Don't know. How is it from a guest's point of view? Does it?
Oh, it's helpful. It's helpful to have jumping off points to talk about, things to talk about. I suppose that's what makes the likes of Michael Parkinson back in the old days the masters of what they did.
Yeah.
Because they were able to keep the guests talking about things. They can always give them jumping off points, I suppose, couldn't they?
Yeah. Well, it is nice to have that, and I think as it goes forward, I hope we sort of get better. Like, I haven't gone back and listened to episode 1. Have you?
I've listened to them all.
Yeah, but what I mean,
multiple
since
times.
like now we're 10, 11 along. Have you gone back and listened to the first one again?
I have, yeah.
Have you?
I have. Yes.
Yeah.
Just to see, because when I edit a new one, I tend to listen to the first or second one just to see what changes I might make, or if I'll do things differently,
Right.
or what's wrong with that one and things like that.
He's very professional, isn't he?
Very. One of us is.
Yeah.
Do you think you'll ever be, if you ever fancy being the guest? Would you be more nervous being the guest than you are the host?
Well, I've been on a podcast as a guest, and I think the problem for me as a guest is it's quite hard to not over talk, and I talk too much. And I think being a host gives me a parameter to stay within, I think. So, being a guest, I don't know, we'll have to try it. We could. Why don't we put that in now, like at the end of season 2, if we do an end of season 2?
That's what
You be the
hosting
host, I'll be the guest.
we get Sam to be the host.
Yeah. She looked very impressed by that.
Yeah, for the listeners out there, she's pulling her face.
Yeah. So we've done. So we talked about like what was surprising and when we were nervous and all of that. Have you got like a moment that you go, oh yeah, that's been my favourite, not favourite guest, favourite moment. That's been the point where I've gone, or where you've gone, oh yeah, that was
That's
the most fun.
That's a good question.
It's a
Because
tough
they've
one, isn't
all
it?
had great parts to them. They've all had great parts to them.
Finale, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, they've all been a bit curate's egg. They've all been good in parts.
Yeah.
That's going back to my mum. That's what my mum always used to say.
Oh really?
Yeah. How was that, mum? How curate's egg? What do you mean? Good in parts.
Curate's egg.
Whiskers Google's going to look it up.
Whiskers McGoogle.
Whiskers McGoogle. Curate's egg, I think, is either a legend, a myth, or an old story about an egg that was only good in parts.
All right.
But I'm sure there'd be more to it. That's what my mum used to say.
Nice.
Yeah, so they've all been good.
Yeah. So like a favourite moment.
I think I enjoyed Phil's distraction, I suppose, from the rails. I did enjoy that. I enjoyed not expecting him to say we did, well, just the first thing out of his mouth was, what gets me shirty? Choking.
Yeah.
Like, I did enjoy that. It's probably some of the funniest bits. Or me having to, because I didn't quite, listen to what he said, and I had to recap. I said, so just to recap, Phil, you don't like choking, you don't like horses that run you over, and you don't like breathalyzers that give you the
false reading
that you're not drunk when actually you were. And you went, I don't like faulty equipment. So it was good. So was that the best bit? I don't know.
It doesn't even have to be best bit, like a favourite moment.
It all goes into one big season. To me, it all feels like one big thing, and it's difficult to hone in on.
See, I quite enjoyed the road trip to Alex's house, but like the bit before we got to his house, I enjoyed the episode.
The fish finger sandwich.
Well, yeah, just that sort of the expectation. It was quite fun to sort of be in the car and go, right, we know where we're going, and right, we're going to town, have something to eat, and I quite enjoyed the anticipation of it. I don't know if that would be my favourite moment. But
Rocky Horror, the anticipation.
Yeah. Tim Curry would have been a good guest.
Yeah.
In fact, we'll get on to
He
this
still
a
would
bit
be.
later. Yeah. I don't know if he does much media now. I mean, I'm not his media booker or anything. No, Tim Curry does nothing these days.
He's still on Twitter quite a lot.
Yeah.
X. That was good. The thing is, even in doing that many years, it were like 11, they've all been interested in different ways.
Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted. I was curious as to whether there was a moment you go, oh yeah, that was when that person did this.
Something sticks out.
Made the that was the sort of funniest or the.
And to be honest, I've probably forgotten some as well. So
Yeah.
Afterwards, you'll probably say, "What about that one?" Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it was hilarious. What about you then? You got? Is it the road trip? That's the.
Yeah, well, I suppose if I look back over the last sort of 11 episodes, there's episodes where I've been nervous, so I've not enjoyed them as much, and ones where I've been more relaxed. Like with James Barriscale, I've for whatever reason I felt super relaxed, and so the conversation flowed really nicely. So I enjoyed doing that one because I was more relaxed. But did I enjoy it more than the others? I don't know. So an absolute favourite moment. I think probably just going on the road trip because it was a bit different, and I didn't know what to expect. It was out of the ordinary. Yeah. So I don't know if that's my favourite moment. Have you got a favourite moment?
Only Sarah's catwalk in her hallway.
Oh yeah. See, that's good, isn't it?
She looked really good.
Yeah. So yeah, check that out actually. If you follow, well, even if you don't follow us on Instagram, but go to Sarah Moyle's Instagram. When she received her shirt from us, part of what she does on Instagram anyway, which she talks about during the podcast, is she does a catwalk down the corridor of her flat. When we sent her the shirt that we made for her, she did a really good catwalk for it and an unboxing video. It's it is really good. Good
stylish,
music. It was really stylish. Yeah.
Well, it's a stylish hallway as well.
It is a stylish
the
hallway.
artwork down the side.
Yeah, it's very nice. Yeah, so that's worth going and looking at. That's a good one. So
Thanks.
yeah.
Are there any episodes that is there one episode you think you've done the best as a host, or you've got the best out of the guest?
As will come as no surprise to you, Stu, I don't really go back and revisit them all that much.
No, but when you finish, do you think, that one went well?
Well, I tend to not think about them too much, because if I think about them, I'll start going, oh no, I said that, and I bet I'll look like a right idiot. And why did I say that? Why did I? Well, point in case, Phil K, actually, he's coming up quite a bit, but the
slicing
the chicken, where that conversation went wasn't somewhere I would ever go with that intentionally, but it was all right.
Yeah, but that's exactly where you would go off air.
Off air, yeah. Yeah, it is. So I don't tend to revisit them. I always listen to them again on release day, because that's exciting. It's exciting to see, because I'm not part of that creative process, the editing. That's sort of all down to you.
And it's out there, then you can't.
And it's out there, yeah. So I would say probably where I was most relaxed was probably the one with James, and I was hitting my stride a bit more then. I sort of knew my way around the questions and how we sort of approached it, and I sort of knew what to.
He came in for breakfast, though, didn't he?
And he did come in for breakfast beforehand.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's because usually here's a little bit of insight in the background as well. What tends to happen is the guests will arrive, and then pretty quickly, we say hello, have a quick chat, make a cup of tea, and then we get straight into measuring the shirt. So measure the shirt, go through so then I'm in work mode. I'm in that sort of measuring, helping with the design, and going through the tailoring side of things. So, which possibly puts me at ease, maybe not the guests, I don't know. Of course, then there is a switch. I have to switch from being that sort of tailoring side of things to having a relaxed conversation. So yeah, maybe with James, because he came in for a bacon sarnie first.
And it's halfway through the season.
And
it was 6, wasn't it?
Yeah. So it was halfway through. So yeah, perhaps I hit my stride a little bit there. Are there any which I think that I did a good job on? Was that the question?
I think so. What you felt went really well.
Yeah. Do you know? I've been pretty pleased throughout. I know that sounds a bit sort of big-headed, but you've made the best of things where I've perhaps not made the best things, but definitely relaxing into it. So probably as we go through them, if I were to go back and listen to them, listening to myself relax. I tell you what's a good sign for me is when I listen to them in the car on the drive in on the day they're released, if I stop analysing and just start listening, if I stop going, oh, why did I do that, or shouldn't have said that, If I listen to it like I do any other podcast, then I think, all right, I've probably done a good job because I wasn't questioning my choices.
No. Would you go back and redo any of them? If you could only redo one of them, would you redo any of them?
Do you know, I wouldn't redo any of them, but I would like to. So I wouldn't want to change any of the ones we've done, but I think with everybody, actually, I'd like to sit down again.
Yeah, I'd like to have them back in. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, maybe Adam, to feel more relaxed than I did when we did Adam's one, because I hadn't quite hit my stride then, maybe.
No, we were both nervous then.
Yeah. Well, and it's like with Mike as well. When you're on episode 1 or 2 of a podcast and you're talking to somebody who's done hundreds of podcasts with such huge guests, from your Stephen Fry's to your Paul McCartney's to your, actors and musicians galore, and to have that sort of experience of controlling a conversation, leading a conversation, bringing the best out of people, and to suddenly be doing that for somebody else, it's nerve-wracking.
Oh yeah,
and the technical side and what ifs, too many what ifs in the beginning.
Yeah, but we got through it.
Yeah, we did get through it. It's been enjoyable.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Has there been any times for you when you thought, oh, this isn't enjoyable?
Actually, no. I mean, there's been a couple of pressure times when we've had to get the episodes edited and out, but that's not been not enjoyable. That's just been one of those things you need to get done. It's not enjoyed it. No, I think it's a brilliant add-on to what we do. That's why I enjoy it. It's something else to get your teeth into. So if it's all getting a bit laborious in the shop and stuff we do, it's something else to think about and improve and work on. So, I've enjoyed it all.
It's funny actually as well. I don't know I don't know how it is for you two, sitting down to do this one today, I suddenly went, I've missed not doing them. I've missed them not coming out.
Yeah, the routine.
Yeah. We did get into a nice stride with that actually. It's only this sort of summer break that we've got where we're all sort of going to be away or not about to do them. Excellent. So what about, while we're sort of talking about doing a good job and the guests and all that sort of thing, is there like a dream guest? Is there somebody that, I think I know what your answer's going to be.
I might have changed.
Oh really? Because this is something we're always trying to book a guest and we're always looking for guests, and we've been very lucky and we are continuing to be lucky with the people that we've got coming on in the future.
There's hundreds of dream guests. It depends whether you mean a dream guest who we think we might be able to get on, or is there a dream guest who we would just, if we could just go, genie, make that guest appear. Well, it depends how dream. How much we dream. Look, how much do we dream?
Do you know? I'm going to say I'm going to move away slightly from that question into another question or an observation. Do you know one thing that has surprised me? Besides how beautiful your voice was,
I dread to wonder.
No, what has surprised me is how much singing there's been in the podcast.
Yeah.
There's been
there's French national anthem.
The French national anthem,
which took us by surprise. That was a moment, wasn't it? When he said, "Do you want me to sing it?" And you went, "Yes."
Yes.
And he did.
He sang the whole thing with some gusto.
Oh, Well, is there another word? Is there a bigger word than gusto? Because there was some
mucho gusto. But which was but Mike was very much. Oh look, well I'm a show off, and I like show.
Well, I think we should have tried somehow to get every guest to sing something of some form or other. Because we got Adam singing his biscuit song.
Adam sang biscuit song. James sang. I can't remember what it was. James sang. I think Sarah sang something.
Yep, she did it because she has been in musicals.
Yeah. She sang a little bit of like My Fair Lady type stuff.
Oh, cockney singing. Brick Van Dyke.
So I don't remember Nigel singing.
No.
But Mike sang.
If Nigel was going to sing, he would be. I'll tell you how he would sing. His singing would be. It would be impressive. It would be booming.
It would.
And impressive.
Like Howard Keel.
Yes. That's it. Kiss me, Kate.
Nigel, if you're listening, I know sometimes you do have a listen. I will tweet you later and see if you do sing like.
It would be all from the diaphragm.
Yeah,
you can just imagine it would be proper. It'd be standing up straight and delivering it.
military-like.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, Mike sang, Adam sang. Gary? Can't remember if Gary sang something. But I remember
I think
there's been a few times I've gone, and somebody else sang again.
Yeah.
And you just sang.
Yeah.
Perhaps it's something in the air.
There's something in the show-offiness.
But yeah, perhaps that's what it is.
And in fact, the only two people that didn't sing were the two musicians, for want of a better word. Alex didn't sing, and Jeff didn't sing.
No, that's true. That's true.
I suppose we can get a song out of Alex, because he loves making up songs.
He does, yeah.
On the spot.
But I didn't push him for a song.
Yeah. He could have done a song about the parts of the shirt.
Dream guest.
Yeah,
I'm going to go back to that.
Circle
now,
back to it.
So you sort of split it into two parts. An ultimate dream guest who we won't get, but I'm not going to take that. You know, we could get anybody we want. That's right. That's how we've got to think about it.
Or are we talking about somebody I would like to meet? I suppose that's different, isn't it? Because then if it's a dream guest, at least I'll get to meet them.
Yeah.
But should we narrow it down to people we actually want on the podcast rather than who I want to meet?
Yeah. Well, yeah, but who would you want to meet and not have on the podcast?
Richard Osman prophetically says, not everybody is cut out for media, or whether it be TV or radio. They may be interesting people and what they do is interesting and they're really good at what they do, and they may be in the media, but they're not necessarily cut out. So the people I want to meet might not be cut out for podcasts.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, obviously, but... So, I don't know, it's a tricky one. Yeah, I mean, Richard Osman, he's got to be everybody's dream podcast guest, doesn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, I would have thought so.
For the benefit of the listeners, Sam's going, who?
This fella off Pointless.
Oh, okay. I bet with faces, not
Faces,
names.
yeah. Well, that's a curse for all of us, actually. That's who I thought you were going to say.
He's just one of them. I mean, he's one of them. Yeah. Mark Watson, you know.
I don't think we could get...
Tim Key. I saw Tim Key on the... Yeah, I've seen Tim Key on the last Inside Number 9 show.
Oh, right. I don't... Yeah.
So no spoilers, don't worry. And he was on that, and I thought, yes.
Yeah.
God, I love Tim Key on the...
Yeah, would be good. Would be good. Well,
watch
really, the space.
Any of those people that have been in Inside Number 9, particularly Shearsmith and Pemberton, get them on, that would be great.
Yeah, they would both be great, actually.
Yeah, I've seen Reece Shearsmith and Pemberton on Alan Davis's Untitled.
Right.
They were some of the funniest episodes I've seen. They are both so funny. They're so interesting as well.
They were both good as well on Aid Edmondson's podcast.
And Alan, of course, this reminded myself of Alan Davis, isn't it? So I mean, there are so many people out there.
Who would be your dream guest? Who, you know, I, as much as I like to say, look, we can get anybody. But I mean, obviously we can't. But who would be your dream guest who you didn't think we had a hope in hell of getting?
So something in the realms of legendary.
Yeah.
God, that's difficult. How far up do you go? Because you'd want John Travolta, wouldn't you?
Yeah, John Travolta would be great, actually. I reckon I can make that happen.
He's got to visit some
meetings. Yeah, could do, couldn't I? Well, having been within...
Touching.
10 feet.
10 feet of
within
John
dancing
Travolta.
distance.
Yeah. I know. So, that was many years ago. But yeah, so dream guest, JT, probably. That would be good. But
It's difficult. I have trouble focusing on one person. It's like focusing on your best film or your best album or your best song. They tend to change so much over
that's true.
how you're feeling. And
yeah, that's true.
And also, skipping back to the guests we've had, having the guests we've had, likes of Sarah and James, those people, all of a sudden you think, in fact, they are just as interesting as those other people might be.
Yeah.
You know? So, I don't know. Simon Pegg, he'd be great.
Simon Pegg, yeah, he'd be good. Nick Frost. Edgar Wright. I wouldn't mind Wes Anderson.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how quite we'd make that happen. What about you? You got a...
I knew you'd do this again.
Jessica Hines, we've asked her.
Yeah, we did ask Jessica Hines.
I was thinking, is Basil's Brush still going? Can we get Basil Brush on?
Do you not remember I reached out to Basil Brush?
Did you?
Yeah, I did reach out to Basil Brush.
What did you say? Boom, boom.
No.
Wow.
And
Surely you reach up to Basil Brush, don't you?
we're not that close. But as yet, I'm still waiting for a reply from Basil. That's pretty good, actually.
Boom, boom.
That wasn't bad at
I
all.
used to love
Wonder
Basil
where he
Brush.
was going at the end.
Yeah.
I used to like it.
Yeah.
Hello.
But oh, that was pretty good too. There's this talent we didn't know you had, Stu. But yeah, so Basil Brush, I have tried.
Him and Lord Charles. They're the only ones I can do.
Oh yeah.
Zillials.
Yeah, that is good. Though.
Zillials.
I like the body movement that goes as well.
I have to do the body movement to get into character. It's called method acting. Come on, keep up.
I'm so sorry, dude.
Zillials.
Yeah. So, but yeah, sort of musicians. There's lots of people who I'd like to speak
There
to.
are. There.
Yeah.
Carney.
So if you've listened to this, do feel free to sort of send us some suggestions.
See, Paul McCartney's local. He could pop in for a podcast.
He could, couldn't he? He could pop in and buy a suit as well if he wants to.
He could.
In fact, anybody listening,
Pop in and buy a
more than
suit.
welcome.
Not just Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
Anybody can buy a suit.
Yeah, so we're a very exclusive shop. We only sell to Paul McCartney.
Who hasn't been here yet.
Yeah.
But still waiting.
Right, let's go another Get Shirty.
Okay.
Let's work, rest.
Rest.
So rest we take as being at home. Being at home.
And I've got to come up for a different one.
Yeah. Well, you can go with the same one again, but it will spoil the pilot.
That's true. Oh yeah, spoil the pilot.
You don't want to spoil the pilot. No one wants to spoil the pilot.
No.
Especially
See,
depending on where he's flying.
This is going to sound a bit. This is going to sound a bit.
Oh no.
But I love my home life. I absolutely love my home life. I love my wife, obviously. And my children. But they're not really there much. So my home life is great. I don't really. There's not much about my home life that annoys me, really, or I get shirty about. I'm trying to think. Let's try and find a mild shirt.
I can think of one of your shirties.
Tame shirty. What I didn't. It's different.
I
from
don't
the,
think you talked about it in
from
the
the
pilot.
pilot.
I can think of one where
Have I
you
got
said
over
to
my,
me.
I might have got over myself.
No, I don't think you talked about it on the pilot because I can remember.
Well, remind me.
Well,
give me a clue.
I'll tell you what. No, cut it out now, and we'll just put a little bit of incidental music in there, Stu.
Well, you're going to tell me.
And I'll tell you now, and then just put a bit of music over the top, and then come
Okay,
back.
so incidental music coming up now. Yes, I do have a.
Oh, do you?
I do have another Get Shirty.
Wow, that's incredible.
Oh, I know. It's a mild shirtiness, and it's more. It's just one of those things that doesn't
Of
really
life, isn't
get
it?
you angry, and it's just
Yeah.
one of those little compromises.
Yeah.
But it's I'm still a big music listener.
Yeah.
Still listen to my vinyl. Love
Yes.
my vinyl, and I'm more of a at home when I'm at home. I'm more of a vinyl listener than I am a Spotify or whatever playlist.
Uh-huh.
Because to me, listening to the music is a whole thing, and listening to a record makes you listen to the music. You've got to get up, you've got to put the record on, give it a clean, and then when it's finished, you've got to get up, you've got to turn it over. So you have to stay engaged. I think it helps you stay engaged.
Yeah.
I find with a playlist, after the first couple of songs, you're not really. I don't think you're really listening to
No,
it.
I agree.
Which is quite nice if you're lounging. So, if I'm gonna, it's quite obvious. Well, I think anyway.
Yeah.
I'm about to listen to music.
Yeah. You've put your special listening to music
I was gonna
pants
say,
on.
you get
Yeah,
naked.
I'll get naked. I'll put my listening to
tassels.
music waders on.
What do you do?
Yeah. So it's pretty, generally there's not anybody about in the room, so record player gets up, this, and almost immediately that the needle drop, that nice goes on, somebody will start talking to me,
Yeah.
or somebody will start doing something, hoovering or something, or
Yeah.
it's like, And that just sort of breaks the magic for me.
Yeah.
And a similar thing happens if I've got something that I want somebody to listen to. I'm
Right.
sure everybody experiences. I think it might be a man thing though. Might be a man thing where you say, oh, listen to this. It's brilliant. Listen to this. And as soon as you push play or whatever, the person you're trying to show starts talking.
Yeah.
So you have to stop it and go back and go, no, listen to this.
Yeah. Oh, I was listening.
I was just talking.
I was talking as well.
But I couldn't hear it.
Yeah.
So, but even shirty is too strong a term for how life gets in the way sometimes.
It does, and it's not an intentional.
No.
It's just one of those things. See, for me, I'm a song skipper.
Yeah, that would annoy me.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it does annoy me.
Yeah.
There's a Get Shirty at work. Oh, but I'm not in here when you
song
do that.
skipper. I don't like to.
Isn't that somebody's captain of their songs?
Yes, it is. I am the skipper. But I think that's because my brain has already gone, yeah, great, I know what that one is, and now I just need to move on. Yeah.
So should you have a new playlist every day that's full of new songs?
No, I've just got one massive playlist, and I just keep skipping until I hit the song that I want to listen to. So I want my music given to me, but then I want to choose whether I want that one or not. It's like I want to be able to flick through it. It's like flicking through a jukebox until you go, oh yeah, that's what I want.
Yeah.
I can't just let it.
Yeah, I struggle with that.
Yeah.
Once a song started, I don't like skipping. I like to listen to the song.
Sometimes I'll get 3 minutes through and skip the last 20 seconds.
Well, that is weird. Why?
Yeah. Just because I know how it ends. I just want to move on.
I know how it ends.
Yeah, well, it's just like,
life.
I'm bored of that now, so I'll move on.
It's funny, isn't it? My daughter doesn't like songs that fade out.
Right.
She would prefer if every song had a proper finish.
Oh.
And I've thought, that's a good point. Why on albums do they decide to fade songs out? Is that just an engineering thing? Is it a mixing thing? Is it designed for transitional purposes? Wonder why that is.
I wonder how much of it is the band going, we haven't got an ending for that.
Yeah, until it comes to playing it live, they have to make one up.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. What about if a band fades it out and then fades it back up?
Yeah, well, that's
can't think,
different. It's not an ending, though, is it? There is a song that does that. That's really weird. There's a Joe Walsh song that does that, but he ends up fading it back in a lot louder than it was when it was playing.
Oh,
so
really?
it's a weird song to listen to. It sort of makes you go a bit discombobulated.
There's a Stone Temple Pilots tune that does that. It sort of it fades out completely and fades back in. It's still the same track, but it's a different tune. We've talked to dream guests. What about hopes for the future other than guests? What would you like to happen with the podcast? Oh, podcast producer and editor.
I'd like it to go. I'd like it to be a thing, rather than to be something that we did and happened in the past. I'd like it to be a thing.
Yeah.
To be something that's actually something.
Yeah.
I don't quite know what that means or how we go about it, but starts to have some presence maybe.
Yeah.
Because I think what we do is unique. Nobody else is doing a free made-to-measure shirt
Yeah.
for their guests, so that's unique. I think what we talk about is slightly unique. I know sort of 20 years ago, so you had the grumpy old men and the grumpy, those little series of things, didn't you? Grumpy old ladies, grumpy old men. But I think this is different. We're not focusing on the grumpy.
No.
We're focusing on all the positive stuff and the odd thing that makes you, that life makes you a little bit shirty.
Yeah. It's not moaning for the sake of moaning.
No, and it's not even annoying. It's just shirtiness. It's kind of, it makes me a little bit shirty.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed.
But so the hopes. What I'd like to keep up the regular, 2 weekly, or every other week podcast, and be able to do it every year, a season a year.
I sometimes think I'd just like it to keep rolling and do because we've got the live event coming up
next week.
Excited about that, or depending on when you're listening to this.
Nervous about that.
Yeah, it's a different thing again. But it's nice. What I've enjoyed when you get older in life and you're doing something like, we all work in a small business, it becomes just about sort of servicing life, really, doesn't it? Making sure the business is running, making sure everything's going well at home and all of that. And it's quite rare to find something when you're in your 50s, which, you know, you and me are, Stu. Sam, obviously you're not. That's what I just said. Sam, obviously you're not.
I'm nearly out of my 50s.
Yeah. Oh, you're looking good for 70. But it's quite rare to get to this point in life and do something that you haven't done, or is a challenge, and it's new. And that's one of the things I've liked about the podcast, is that it's continued to sort of surprise and bring new challenges with it. And that's why I think the live thing, you know, we haven't been going very long, and to do a live one I think is quite brave. And it is nerve-wracking, and I am sort of nervous about it, but that's good. It's good to have that sort of nervous energy around something. Yeah, I think more events like that. Be nice for it to continue the success that it's had, actually. Yeah, because to hit even the sort of fashion and beauty charts, podcasts, there's so many podcasts out there, and to get, I think our highest position in that chart was number 2. I think we were in the top 20s with the arts chart as well, and you know, to sort of do that after a handful of episodes was incredible, you know, and to stay there consistently is great. I think the more we can do that. What about you, Sam? You got anything?
Well, I'm quite happy to be doing what we're doing.
She's got northern.
Yes.
Aye.
Aye, quite happy I am to carry on with what I've been doing. Yeah, no, that's fair. I think as we sort of keep going, I think more of the same. More of the same would be great, I think.
Yeah, I'd like, because so many people do podcasts, so many people don't continue to do their podcasts.
Yeah.
You know, my son always said, well, it's like if you do one and get that out, you're somewhere up in the 60% of people that do. And then I think it's 3. Once you've gone past 3, 90% of people or something don't do more than 3 podcasts. Yeah. So we're already doing better than that. But now seems a wash with podcasts at the moment, isn't it?
It's been a real...
But as I say, because of what we offer and what we do, I still think we sit somewhere quite unique.
Yeah.
You know, we're not talking about business. Who wants to talk about business in a podcast? Boring.
Yeah.
But we're a business doing a podcast, but not talking about business.
Yeah.
Nobody else has got off the hat cuff.
Should we do a work, rest and play? Should we do play?
Play.
Should we do a quick round, get shirty, going
You
out?
didn't do your you didn't
Being
do
at
it
home.
at home, did you?
My one, I'm trying to remember.
You did your work one, didn't you?
I did do a work one. Look, I can't remember if I talked about this. I have talked about this on the podcast, though. I think I talked about it with Adam Buxton. And if there's one thing I really do not like, it's dirty kitchen tops.
Oh yeah.
Crummy, dirty.
We come up with the Adam's cleaning regime, although I'm not a big fan of.
What's that?
His towel on the floor on everything.
That was odd. I mean, Adam, I love you, but that was odd. And he talked about that with Bridget Christie on his podcast, and she was like, "You do what?"
I'd love Bridget Christie on the podcast as well.
That would be good. Sort of grubby kitchen tops. Yeah.
So what, crummy or sticky or both or either?
Yeah.
None of
it's
them
just like leaning on any surface where you lean on it, come around, you've got crumbs or sticky jam. Lid's not being put on properly.
Bars.
No, you are. I really don't like that. So you pick it up and the jar falls away. No, thank you. So they'd be my home ones.
That's your home ones.
But I am fully aware that I'm quite an irritating person.
For the benefit of the listeners, nobody is disagreeing with him here.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not shaking our heads, in case you're wondering.
I'm well aware of my faults. It's like I went all dot cotton then. Oh, Nick. That would be... So what about play? Yeah, going out. I mean, I don't go out very often.
No.
But I've got one.
Go on,
actually. Straight away.
Oof. You're going to say people, aren't you?
No, well, yeah, it is people related. No, people who don't observe correct queuing etiquette.
I think you've mentioned that before.
Yeah, I hate it. Yeah, I have. Who was I talking to? So I was saying, especially when people push in front of my kids.
Yeah, but you mentioned that before. Yeah, you did mention that on the podcast.
I think I did, but I can't bear it. When someone can see, if someone makes a mistake, I've said this before, if they make a mistake and go, "Oh, I'm dreadfully sorry," 9 times out of 10 I'll go, "Oh, don't worry about it. You know, go for it. I'm not in a rush." But if I see someone sort of pushing in, or not acknowledging the massive queue that's there where everybody else, oh God, it reminds me.
They do that next door sometimes, don't they?
Yeah.
They say it's a British
belligerence.
thing, don't they, queuing? But
Yeah.
what do they do in other countries then?
They don't.
Do they not have queues?
No, not in the same way.
Well, how do they get things?
Well,
Do they just fight for them?
I think sometimes. I think it's more like you've managed to get their attention, the other people haven't, so fair play to you.
Well, so it's like everything's like a pub.
Yeah.
That would be weird, wouldn't it? Trying to
Yeah.
negotiate that as
I mean, I'm
a
sure
British
there must
person.
be some queuing. I'm just
Well,
trying
if you go
think
to
of when I've been abroad.
if you go to an embassy in a different country, do they not queue? Do they not have a queue to go
Yeah,
through
that's-
passport control? Was it just a bun fight? Is everything a bun fight?
How we observe a queue is quite British. So perhaps I'm just quite British. So that would be my going out.
As you're going out,
Yeah.
going out, leaving the confines
Yeah.
of the house.
You're quite a homebody though, aren't you? Once
Yeah.
you're home,
I am now.
you're home.
Yeah.
Especially over Christmas.
Especially for Christmas.
You're not
Oh,
getting the
Chris-
Wilson out over
No.
Christmas.
No, it's a well-known fact. And in fact, I've still got those odd-shaped bits of wood that I can hammer over the door,
Yeah.
so nobody can come in or out. People don't even ask me now. They don't even say you can't have Christmas at home. It does make me sound like a curmudgeon, doesn't it? I'm not.
Not at all, Ebenezer.
I'm not. I just love staying in at Christmas. I love my family at Christmas. And the thing is, it's selfish because, of course, everybody wants to have their Christmas at home. But I want everybody to come to me for Christmas. I don't want to go to theirs
Yeah.
because now my family's splitting up and all going their own ways. I'm sure the time will come when I'll get the invites to them. I'll be like, oh, I've got to go all the way over there for Christmas. But they're feeling the same as me. They want me to come to them and host it. But I want to be Santa Claus.
So there will come a point where you just got to get out those Jim Jam bottoms, Stu.
I might just wear them anyway in
Yeah.
the car.
Yeah.
Been known.
Yeah, in the past when we've had people to us for Christmas, we have specified.
You have to wear
You've
Jim
just
Jams.
got to stay in your pyjamas. Why not? So what would your going out be if you have to go out?
Still trying to think of it.
Is it just going out?
No, I quite like going out. I mean, I think in the pilot I spoke about shopping and stuff like that, so I'll talk about that. But, if we could include maybe road users, I mean, that's going to be quite a common one. isn't it?
That is going out though, isn't it?
Yeah.
You have to be out to do that unless you have a road going through your house.
Yeah. Yeah, is it getting worse, the road users, the attitudes of road users? I'm not sure. But it's getting very, very much stressful. I don't find it stressful, but I sort of look at it and go, why are you all acting like this?
Because they're pricks.
Yeah.
I think generally speaking.
Yeah, there's people who've still got this thing, they get in the car and they turn into, whatever vehicle they're in, they turn into different people than they are outside. I don't get it. Don't understand. So I do get, although I'm not a shirty driver, so I don't actually get shirty when I'm driving. I'm quite a calm driver, deliberately so. So I don't actually get shirty, but I feel like I could if I thought about it too much, maybe.
Other people driving.
I suppose so, yeah.
Yeah. It's a get shirty.
It's another one of those fields, we spoke about this earlier, I don't know if it was today or the other day we spoke about this. It's another area of life where people get their opinions mixed up with fact, I think. When it comes to driving, the highway code, how to use the roads, everybody thinks they're an expert on the right way to do something
Yeah.
on the road and driving. I've never met a single person who doesn't think they're a good driver, ever. You know, you ask anybody if they're a good driver, everybody's a good driver. Now, we can't all be good drivers.
No.
We must have some faults in our driving. But I've never met anybody that thinks they're a bad driver or even doesn't think they're a good driver. They're all good drivers. And I think that's a problem.
I think you could be right.
And they all positively know. And I don't want to say it's mostly men, but I think it is. They're all so assured that they are correct in their driving and what they do.
Yeah.
So it gets me shirty.
Okay. Good.
That arrogance.
Right. So
Oh,
the
hello,
last,
standing up.
I am standing
You're
up.
right.
So look,
Oh, you're going for the off the cut? in the hat,
look,
you've got to re-explain it. You have to
I don't
talk about the
think-
legend of the hat cuff.
I don't think now we can not talk about the hat cuff.
You have to talk about the
Yeah.
the legend.
Keep the hat cuff for the next.
Yes, we are.
Or should we do it in something else?
No.
What, a sandal? I don't know why I said
Yeah.
sandal.
As we have explained before, and we will do again, we have a last section of the podcast which actually didn't come in straight away. It didn't come into Adam Buxton, did it?
Was he the first one?
Yeah, he was the first one. The section is off the cuff. Ha ha, very funny. You know, it's something that is your ha ha,
Very funny.
very funny. It's one of those ones where you don't know what it's going to be. You've got to think about it off the cuff. You've got no chance to prepare. Great. How do we get them to the person? So the idea was we'll come up with loads of suggestions and we'll present them to the guest. And we thought, well, I'll write them all out, cut them all up. Thought, well, I'm going to need to put them in something. And what we had to hand was a bowler hat. To me, at no point did I even think,
No, nor me.
let's put them on a cuff. Let's find a cuff. Let's make a little pouch from a cuff. Didn't even think about it. I just thought, well, that's a funny name. That'll do. And it was only Adam Buxton saying, oh, well, you could pin them to a cuff. Surely they should be on a cuff. It's like, oh, well, yeah. But then that being who we are made us sort of double down and go, no, now we just want the hat. So it will always be the hat.
The hat cuff.
The hat cuff. The
Off the hat cuff.
Off the hat. Out of the hat. Off the cuff. Cuff hat. Hattie cuff. Hattie Jakes.
Coffee hat.
Carry on.
Mornington
So-
Crescent. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, we're
Different
there.
game.
Yeah. So I think we should just always use the same hat.
Yeah.
I don't see there's any need to change it.
It's a nice old Laurel and Hardy bowler hat.
Yeah, it is. It's a nice bowler hat as well. So, Stu, we're going to round off this
Season.
podcast and this season in the way we round off every podcast by going to the cuff hat. Go.
I am picking from the hatty cuff.
It's picked from the hattie cuff. We should have a little bit of
Hope it's a
music
good one.
we should play. I hope it's a good one. Otherwise, it's pretty shit, isn't it?
Weather. Oh, that's a good one.
Come on. So, yeah.
Problem is, I have spoken about this on the pilot,
Have you?
so I think I should pull another one out. Because I was quite extensive. Not as being a shirty, but we did do quite
Did a lot about the weather. All right.
fly car
Should
and
we
all
bend
that.
that one now?
So I'm going to re-pick from the hatty cuff.
Get shirty.
Books.
Oh, books.
Books. Well, that's a tricky one to get shirty about.
Yeah.
Books.
I could talk about this one all day.
What makes you shirty? You love books, though.
I do love books, which is why I could talk about why things get me
He's got
shirty.
enough time to read them. He's not got enough place to store
Oh, so
them.
about shirty, about the
Around
the book
the thing of
system.
books. Yeah.
I've got one thing immediately off my head that makes me shirty about books, and it's the complaints from people that complain about films made from books or books made from
Good
films.
one.
The whole concept that they are the same media and they should be the same.
Same.
Now I've been a
No.
I've been guilty. I have been a knob. Yes, I have been a knob many times, but I've been guilty of this myself.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, there's one thing that stands out, and that's Foundation. Okay,
Right.
Foundation, the trilogy by Isaac Asimov, is one of my most favourite sets of books of all time, and it's the one set of trilogy books I've read numerous times, read and read and read. So Apple TV bringing out the Foundation series was really exciting to me until it came out and I saw it, and it was rubbish. Now I was guilty of my own problematic, I was my own shirty in that one.
Yeah.
Because I was one of those people saying, well, you should have been the same. But of course, when I reread the books, I instantly thought, well, there's no way they could make that. So I think in that sort of instance, they should never have made it.
Right.
They should have gone, we can't make this, so we will make what we want to make, but we'll call it something else.
Yeah.
We'll make our version of Foundation.
Inspired by.
But we won't call it Foundation. And I think that's the key, and I think that's what they should do with things like that, because some things are really good stories that can be made into a film, but they need to be changed so much that it's not really doesn't have the same feel. So they need to. iRobot was another Asimov one.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad film, but it's not the book, and it doesn't have the same feelings as the book or the.
Yeah.
So
Legend's the
don't
same.
call it that. Yeah. So don't call it this. Well, Legend, because you pointed out to me, and I went and read it. It's completely different, really. It's a completely different psychology and a completely different feel.
Yeah.
So it's bad.
The ending,
Yeah.
So a classic example of this is The Shining. That's the one that tends to get people riled up.
Well, a lot of books, a lot of films,
because it's almost nearly the same, but then there's fundamental differences which go, well, it's not like the book.
But it's a great film. So call it, I don't know, what's the name of the hotel? The Overlook. Call it Overlook or something. Don't use the title.
I like the bit in The Simpsons, the Halloween Simpsons, based on The Shining. Have you seen that? And it's Willie, the groundskeeper.
Yeah, with the feeling.
He plays the sort of caretaker, the older guy who's got the ESP. He plays that character. But in that Bart says to him, "Oh, you've got The Shining," and he went, "It's the Shinning Boy. Do you want us to get sued?" Which really made me laugh. But yeah, no, that's a good.
So I think it's that fundamental
good.
misunderstanding of books to films. Lord of the Rings suffered with it. They were great
Harry
films.
Potter. So the thing with Harry Potter seems to be the bits that they chose to leave out.
I haven't read the books. Don't like the films.
Yeah, the films are okay, and the books are okay.
Yeah, never read the books. Not gonna.
Okay. Not gonna.
Not gonna.
He's not gonna. Yeah.
Not giving her any money.
What about the other way?
What, she giving me money?
Films, yeah. She's gonna films that are films and then become books, or TV series that then have adaptations.
Yeah, I think they tend to work better. 2001, that was that went from book to film, didn't it? But I think 2001 they made it into a film from the book, but then they also remade the book from the film.
Right. Okay.
That tends to be easier to do. But yeah, so it's that.
Decent Get Shirty though.
It gets me shirty that people imagine. My mum was always going on about Lord of the Rings and things like that, and she was always complaining. It's not like the book. It's not like the book. That was always her thing, that had to be like the book. But no, it's a different media.
Yeah.
It's completely different. And I think people get too hung up on that. No, I know I did. But then I think the film companies are partially at blame for trying to use the book to sell the film.
Yeah.
With the title, or
put a new cover on it.
Yeah. They sort of say, well, this film is, or this series, like Foundation, for example, it's sold because of the huge following of Foundation.
Yeah.
I just think a lot of people, it's being praised as a good science fiction series, but I can't watch it because it's supposed to be Foundation. That's the problem. So yeah, that gets me shirty.
Yeah, that's a good
all
one.
the time.
That's a good one. I like it.
Treat them as a different media. Enjoy them for what they are. Lord of the Rings are great films and they're great books.
Yeah, rewatching them recently, they're not as great as I thought they were.
Oh, I think so. I think they hold up. I think they're brilliant.
They're a bit dull in places.
You think? Well, not as dull as the books are in places.
The books really are dull.
Yeah, you sort of go, I've got to trawl through 10 pages where he describes a flower.
Yeah, it's not my cup of tea, really.
No, I mean, they are. Because they're like purist books, aren't they? I think people have read them, but I've only read them once. I don't think they require a revisit. But I think they're the purists that do read them over and over again. They are a particular sort of Lord of the Rings purist.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. So, look, there we go. We've shirtied.
There's a story I want to revisit that I spoke about in Jeff's podcast.
Right.
About the online shopping thing. And there's a slight addition to it.
Oh.
It was my favourite online shopping story about my friend Joe in the band.
Yes.
Who said to us, I've got I was drunk on eBay, and I bought a record player. So, you guys, get your records together, and we'll have a record party at my house when it turns up. But and then he phones up, or messages, WhatsApp, a week or so later, and says, "Sorry guys, that didn't happen. That was a dream. I didn't buy a record player, so the party's off." As it turns out, though, the information that I'd forgotten about was she reminded me of recently. He'd actually went out and bought a record himself.
Oh, really?
So, he went and bought a record for his own record party for a record player that he thought he'd bought, but he hadn't. He just dreamt it. So he had a record player, and no record player. That's a little addition to the story that I told in an earlier podcast.
It's like Inception
I know.
or something, isn't it? He dreamt a record player into being so strongly.
He bought a record.
He bought a record on the back
He was
of it.
he was waiting for the emails. He was waiting for it to turn up. It was only when he checked his emails and couldn't find any record of him buying a record player. He said it was a dream. So that still remains one of my best online shopping stories.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
But I just added that little feature because it's even better with the fact that he bought a record as well, ready for his party.
And it's nice to end the series or the season with a podcast callback.
That's what I thought I'd do.
Done like a true producer. I'm going to clap you on that one.
Thank you.
So, Stuart Wilson, Stu, it's been a real pleasure and interesting to sort of have you on as a guest. Again, you're the only returning guest who's also been involved with every other podcast. But thank you for being on Get Shirty. And thank you, Sam,
thank you for inviting me.
allowing me to ask you questions which you were never going to answer. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You could end with all your bye-byes
Bye.
now, like you did.
Bye-bye.
Hello. Bye.
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 I want a signature bye. Goodbye now. No, that's...
Definitely not that.
No,
Goodbye now. Yeah, you can't do an Adam Buxton loud one.
I love you, bye. Joe does that in the band. I love you, bye.
Yeah,
He's
you
wandering
could do.
off.
Yeah, what are you going to go with?
I don't know. Who else has got a signature sign off?
Me? Have you've been cutting them out all this time?
Yeah.
Bye!
Yeah, well, I've been trying to make the guest have the last word.
Yeah. Well, go for it, Stu.
Bye.
I have to say I really enjoyed chatting with Stu and recording how things are being on the other side of the mics. It's a strange thing to host and produce a podcaster, but I have to say we really enjoy it, and I hope that came across. Don't forget as well to get your tickets for our live event. If you're listening before the 4th of July, of course, yes, it is election night. We would love to see you there. And we will return with season 2 in September. We've got some great guests lined up and we are super excited to get going. Until then, do try not to get too shirty.